Okay. Look at the flags. Oh, come on. Here we go. Here we go. Whenever you're ready, Tom.
Okay, I'm Tom Guillaume. This is COM 110. This is my persuasive speech. So, orcas have been in captivity since orcas have been in captivity since 1961, and unaware of their plight, millions of Americans each year have traveled to SeaWorld in San Diego or Orlando and made the pilgrimage and watched them perform choreographed routines like you see in the pictures right there. I myself actually went to San Diego 2 years ago, and I was in that crowd watching Shamu. It was a very interesting show. I loved it personally. And they're unaware of how the choreographed routines actually do not mimic any of the orca's natural behavior. The Shamu has been the poster child of the wettest show on earth for SeaWorld since 1964, since it first opened. And therefore it has been a victim of the commercial experiment since that time. Throughout history, SeaWorld has systematically abused orcas in marine theme parks, and therefore legislation needs to be passed banning orca captivity. Outlined there, you can see the picture of Shamu looking at his trainers, and therefore. So for years, SeaWorld has employed arguments that justifying orca captivity, and these have all been deflections. Therefore, there's been a wide disparity between the care that orcas receive in the wild versus the care that they receive in captivity. First of all, SeaWorld is unable to provide enclosures and care that adequately resemble the standard that orcas receive in the wild. Here I put two of the enclosures. You can kind of see the one orca right here, and that is his entire enclosure, and then right over here, that's the enclosure, and that's the ocean that they live in. And therefore, SeaWorld's standard of treatment of orcas has been very subpar. Shamu or the orcas would have to swim the circumference of their enclosure over 1,400 times in order to mimic the distance that they swim in the wild, which is over 100 miles. And the human equivalent of the enclosure would be a box that's roughly 9.5 meters in length, 5.7 meters in width, and 2.1 meters in height. That's about the size of this room, except the roof would be lowered about 3 or 4 feet. And that's what they have to live in, according to The Fate of Captive Orcas, which was an article by the Whale and Dolphin Conservation Society. Moreover, there's been a series of adverse health effects that the orcas have received, which is inhumane and unethical. First of all, they have a collapsed dorsal fin, which I'm sure you guys have seen whenever you've seen them. That's the collapsed dorsal fin that they have in SeaWorld, and this is how the dorsal fin is actually supposed to look in the wild. It's completely erect. And the reason they have this collapsed dorsal fin is because the enclosure is too shallow. In the wild, they spend only 10% of their time on the surface, but when they're in these enclosures, they have to spend upwards of 80% of their time on the surface. And the gravitational effects causes that dorsal fin to collapse. And it's also due to poor nutrition in the chlorinated water. This was according to Death at SeaWorld, The Dark Side of Killer Whales in Captivity by marine biologist Matthew Kirby. So there's that, and also in the image right over here, this is called raking. It's what killer whales do when they're not in their natural pods, which pods are their families that they naturally have in the wild. And those are like the teeth scratches that other whales have put on them. And that's not a natural thing. That's an aggressive behavior that's not found in the wild. Each pod has a different dialect. Moreover, 92% of orcas don't live past the age of 25 in captivity in SeaWorld, which in the wild, they're expected to live for males till at least 30, and for females till 50, but there have been cases of them living till 80 or 90 in both cases. So that's extremely rare. And that fact was from Naomi Rose, who wrote Killer Controversy, and she works for the Humane Society International of 2011. Also, there's a separation of mother and calf. SeaWorld claims they don't do this, but the mother, Takara, she saw at SeaWorld San Antonio, and her calf right there, Kushana, was moved to Laurel Parque in Argentina. And this is a significant amount of psychological trauma that they'll feel, which is also a form of unethical treatment. And then, so this is just a comparison of like the wild orcas. This is a good visual that I saw, and that there have been no reported acts of aggression or human deaths in the wild when talking about orcas. But in captivity, it's already led to 4 people who have died at SeaWorld, and it's been over 100 acts of aggression. These are 2 trainers. The one on the right is Don Brancheau, who was tragically killed in SeaWorld in 2010 when Tillicum, one of the whales who's had a troubled past, dragged her to the bottom of the service and killed her. And there's a decent amount of rebuttal that SeaWorld's tried to claim. According to the official SeaWorld, official SeaWorld page, they say that they are the lead contributor to marine biology and conservation. However, only $600 of every $1 million, $600 of every $1 million that SeaWorld makes actually goes to conservation. So that's equivalent of 5 cents per ticket, according to Vanessa Williams, who's an Icelandic marine biologist. And therefore, there's a very feasible solution that all of us can take. It's to support legislation that will end performance-based entertainment and captive breeding, one of which was proposed by Congressman Richard Bloom of California. He's the one who put legislation in 2014. Unfortunately, it died in the Senate. However, it's being reintroduced in 2016. So the only thing feasible steps that we can take is just supporting legislation, as well as writing to our Congress people, and Change.org, there's also petitions that go out. And then I just want to leave you with a final thought. This is my favorite quote that I've actually found is, what we should enjoy perhaps is not in their performance, but the mere fact that they exist. That we believe is wonder enough. So that's just what I want to leave you with.